Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. Tonight, an Ontario doctor is charged with murder. Police say they're looking into multiple suspicious deaths. Also tonight, a CBC News exclusive. New data suggests where variant cases may be heading.
Strong wake-up call that we're just having right now.
But Ontario and Quebec relax some restrictions. Traditional pizza makers try their hand at a pandemic favorite, frozen.
We have stores calling us to get them in there.
And personal stories of anti-Asian racism.
We are not virus, we are human.
Some ideas on how to make things better. This is The National. We begin tonight with a disturbing allegation in an eastern Ontario town. Police say they're looking into multiple suspicious deaths, and a doctor at the local hospital is charged with first-degree murder. Last night, Ontario Provincial Police were called into Hawkesbury and District Hospital in the town located between Ottawa and Montreal. And this morning, they laid that charge against Dr. Brian Nadler. Hilary Johnstone is in Hawkesbury. And Hilary, what do we know about this story tonight?
Well, Ian, the hospital where this doctor worked is now trying to reassure patients, their families, and also this small eastern Ontario community of Hawkesbury after police say they're investigating multiple suspicious deaths at the local hospital. And CBC News has learned that the accused has faced unprofessional conduct charges in the past. The Ontario Provincial Police have charged Brian Nadler in connection with at least one suspicious death at the Hawkesbury and District General Hospital, where he was a physician. Police took Nadler into custody last night, but it's not clear what prompted police to open an investigation or how many deaths they're looking at.
At this point in time, while we don't know exactly how big this investigation will be, we are looking at other suspicious deaths that have occurred recently at the Hawkesbury and District Hospital.
Today, the 35-year-old was charged with one count of first-degree murder in a virtual hearing. His lawyer says Nadler will, quote, rigorously defend the charges against him. In a statement tonight, the Hawkesbury Hospital says it has revoked all of Nadler's privileges and, quote, we want to reassure our patients, their families, and the entire community that the hospital campus is a safe place. The mayor of the small community is asking residents to stay calm.
However, I would suggest to people not to prejudge and not to dwell on it. There are some specialists, investigators who are looking into the matter and to continue their daily routine.
And Ian, Ontario's Office of the Chief Coroner has also confirmed that it's investigating these deaths. And we also know that the OPP's Forensic Identification Unit is also involved.
So few details, though, being disclosed. But Hilary, as you mentioned, you've looked into Nadler's background.
That's right, Ian. So we know from police that he's from a suburb near Montreal, and we also know that he graduated from McGill University about a decade ago. We know that he then spent some time at the University of Saskatchewan within its College of Medicine, where he also faced some professional misconduct charges, including for comments that he made towards a female colleague. We then know that he was a geriatric fellow at the University of Nevada. As far as his time here in Ontario, he has been licensed in the province since February of 2020.
A big story, Hilary, and I know we'll be watching for more information through the evening. Thank you. Well, now on to COVID-19, and for over a year, daily life has meant calculating the risk of catching the virus, and tonight you may want to recalculate. We have exclusive reporting on COVID-19 variants, data from Ontario that confirmed what we've heard from some other countries. The variants of concern are more transmissible and they're potentially more dangerous.
Once a variant of concern sort of takes hold, we've seen this in other jurisdictions, the proportion of a variant of concerns will increase. So, that's what we're seeing right now.
In Manitoba, variants account for nearly a third of all active cases. In Ontario, they now account for half of all new cases. And new federal modeling suggests young adults are contracting them more than anyone else. Lauren Pelly obtained the Ontario data on variants that won't be made public until next week. She shows us their potential to drive up ICU cases and deaths.
As the weather gets warmer and more people gather and mingle, CBC News has seen new data on variants in Ontario that might make all Canadians stop and think. An analysis from Ontario's COVID-19 Science Advisory Table found being infected with a variant means a 60% increased risk of hospitalization, a 100% increased risk of being admitted to an ICU, and a 60% increased risk of death, all compared to the original strain of this virus.
So you're more likely to be admitted to hospital and to potentially die from the infection, regardless of your age.
While Canadian seniors and long-term care residents are gaining protection from vaccinations, medical experts warn many younger adults working in the community remain vulnerable.
Now we're seeing many more people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s with pretty severe disease.
Thankfully, your personal risk of dying remains fairly small, so getting infected with a variant only increases your overall risk of death slightly. But with thousands of new cases every day, that adds up fast. The rough death rate in Canada right now is about 2.4%, or 24 people out of 1,000, and a 60% increase would mean around 38 people out of 1,000 dying instead.
Strong wake-up call that we're just having right now.
The head of Ontario's Science Advisory Table warns if serious COVID-19 cases keep rising, it will have a ripple effect.
Our healthcare system being overwhelmed will play a big role now in the coming days or weeks.
That prompted a warning about provinces loosening restrictions too soon from Canada's chief public health officer.
As soon as those variants take hold, things could escalate. So ease anything, and you have to be really thoughtful about it at this point in time.
Lauren, this data is from Ontario, but it is relevant elsewhere in the country.
Well, that's right. Dr. Tam was saying today that we're seeing these variants emerge in different areas. So presumably anything happening in Ontario is probably happening in different parts of Canada.
And the takeaway, Lauren, for people who may think that they're too young to be at risk?
Well, we want to maintain the same public health precautions, wearing a mask, avoiding indoor gatherings, and if you have to see other people, do it outside. Ian?
Thanks, Lauren. Meanwhile, Ontario's case numbers continue to rise, reporting more than 2,100 cases for the second straight day. Today's count is the highest since late January. Hospitalizations are also up to 913, the most in a month and a half, and the ICU system with 401 patients is under strain. Ontario did announce changes today, though not the ones many doctors wanted. Instead of clamping down, it continues to open up. Here's Magda Gebrselassie with what's next.
Like those 401 patients, doctors are worried that the ICUs in Ontario will keep filling up with people fighting the virus.
The situation is quite concerning, and I anticipate that our wave 3 peak will vastly exceed our wave 2 peak of 420 patients.
Yet the province announced today it's relaxing restrictions in areas currently in lockdown.
We're loosening it up just a little bit.
Gray lockdown zones will open up to outdoor fitness classes next week. Personal care services can see customers next month. Outdoor dining has already been back for days now, and today the Premier defended it all.
We should all be on high alert, absolutely high alert. But, you know, I'm going to be frank, people are tired. I'm telling you, they're tired, they're exhausted out there, they need a little bit of fresh air, but please do it very carefully.
On the streets of Mississauga, people were fully supportive of this move.
It's just a matter of doing the right things to make it safe for reopening. So it is a good thing.
I think enough is enough. Now we have to a little bit ease and let the businesses survive. And let the peoples get out.
Frustrations aside, the federal government says this isn't the time to ease restrictions.
We can't let down our guard. You know, the vaccination is rolling out. Certainly, it's on a good rhythm right now. But in the meantime, we need to hold on.
What I think we need to focus on is what can we do to stop this now? And I think that anyone who can stay at home should stay at home.
This as the country needs to brace for the 12,000 new cases of COVID a day projected to hit in the coming weeks. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
There's a similar tension in Quebec, where today public health officials spoke of a wave of variants and warned it will intensify without more restrictions. The province, though, did the opposite. Alison Northcott has that part of the story.
A new vaccination clinic in Quebec's Lower St. Lawrence region, where health officials say variants are fueling transmission in a way this area has never seen before.
The current upward trend that we see in variants will continue unless something additional is done.
Across the province, Quebec's Public Health Research Institute projects variants will become the dominant strains of the virus here within weeks.
The epidemic of variants of concern has been growing, and the measures in terms of how we protect ourselves from transmission were insufficient to stop this progression.
But that projection comes as Quebec loosens some restrictions, allowing up to 250 people in places of worship, sending high school students back to the classroom full-time, and allowing gyms to reopen. Caroline Lambre opened hers with a wary optimism. She and her clients wonder how long she'll be able to stay open.
Are we going to have a third lockdown? Is that third wave coming? You know, everybody's following the cases every day. So it's more that uncertainty.
The fact of the matter is that this pandemic is not over.
Raymond Tellier says he's worried about the easing of restrictions now and says Quebec could be heading toward a third wave like Ontario.
The only way to escape it is to continue to have strict precaution, and does not seem to be what we're doing just now.
He says vaccinations are another way out, but that takes time to get enough people inoculated. As Quebec's premier got his first dose, he acknowledged the weeks ahead will be critical. But after a year of restrictions, he says Quebecers need some relief.
If we're too strong, too hard, we may lose everybody. So we're trying to balance.
Legault says he'll watch cases and hospitalizations closely and adjust the measures if needed. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Well, let's check in with infectious disease specialist Dr. Zane Chagla. And Dr. Chagla, first of all, what do you make of Ontario and Quebec easing some of their restrictions?
Yeah, I'm mixed. You know, there are some outdoor settings where physical distancing, the good ventilation are appropriate, so things like outdoor congregations, training, outdoor fitness classes can operate pretty safely with minimal transmission. However, easing restrictions on indoor settings, particularly where there's crowds and poor ventilation with variants circulating, you're asking for more transmission, and those settings really need to be examined carefully as part of this plan.
And some of that spread indoors, and I know they say this in British Columbia as well, are social gatherings, but you'd also like to bring attention to workplaces.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we saw essential workplaces seeing the brunt of COVID-19 throughout this pandemic. We've seen variants circulating more and more in these workplaces. And so without necessarily putting interventions in place targeted towards workplaces, even the ones that have to remain open, we're really not going to be solving this problem, and we're going to see transmission into the communities and their households.
All right, Dr. Chagla, thank you.
No problem.
And one more COVID note, numbers here in British Columbia continue to jump. 908 new cases reported today, the province's second highest daily total since the beginning of the pandemic. The 7-day average has shot up to just under 700 daily cases. That is the highest it's been since December. The province also reporting 3 new COVID-related deaths today. While an incident involving Ottawa police once again raising questions about how the police respond to distress calls and whether tactical officers should be the first responders. Judy Trin has the story of a family visited by mistake, then left shaken.
Ottawa police entered this home early Wednesday morning, responding to a call about a potentially suicidal man. It was the wrong address. Nadia Ngoto says no one heard a knock.
Sleeping, you would have heard that.
Ngoto's oldest son, Ozzy, says he was awakened by the sound of heavy footsteps.
So I proceeded with caution towards my door, kind of opened it a little bit, peeked through, and I seen just a figure standing kind of about where you're standing roughly. And I kind of approach him, put my hand out, and he turns around and he has this huge ass gun in his hand.
Police say that they announced their presence before entering the house, but the family says something different happened. They said that police actually knocked on this window. It's the bedroom window of Armand, the 11-year-old son.
I was scared because I don't have the best experience with officers, and I didn't really know what was going on, and everybody in my house was asleep, so I was pretty terrified.
In a statement, Ottawa police said they did not point their guns at anyone, didn't cause any injury, and didn't damage any property. After realizing they had the wrong address, police say they apologized and left. Police weren't able to locate the man in distress, but the incident raises the question whether police should be engaged in such calls. This criminologist says they shouldn't be.
If we reimagine the way that we respond to distress, reimagine the way we respond to transgression, so that we don't just kind of default to policing all the time, and instead empower these community groups that have so much expertise, so much passion to keep people safe, then I think we would be in a situation where people don't have to worry about getting killed by police.
This incident has shaken Ngoto's family, though they believe it could have ended much worse. Judy Trin, CBC News, Ottawa.
To an unusual and potentially unnerving story in Kelowna, British Columbia now, where police are looking for a man who's out on the road posing as one of them. Susanna De Silva has the details.
There are fears about who may be traveling this stretch of highway, tricking people into pulling over.
I noticed that there were some flashing lights behind me. It looked like a police light, so I pulled over, thinking that that's what we do when we see police officers with lights.
Kristen McBride stopped here around 9 p.m. A man in plain pants and a dress shirt walked up to her car and shone a flashlight at her 17-year-old daughter in the passenger seat.
He said, sobriety check, and then just walked away. I thought that was really unusual, but when the lights went off, I thought, well, I guess it's okay to go now, and rolled up my window and pulled out.
McBride says the white truck or SUV with red and blue lights on the grille followed her a few minutes before it approached a parked car and put on the imitation police lights again. The whole incident bothered her, but when police announced a similar incident a week later, almost 200 kilometers away, she called to report what had happened to her.
It is very concerning for us. At this time, it's unclear what this individual's intentions were.
Police say the two cases share similar details and descriptions of the suspect and vehicle.
During that interaction, the victim just didn't feel right. He felt something was not quite right and decided to leave that traffic stop and flee towards Kelowna.
Police say the person McBride saw approached by the suspect has now come forward. Last week, a man was arrested for a similar but police say not connected incident in Prince George. Concerned drivers are being told to slowly drive to a populated area or pull over, doors locked, windows up, and call 911. This former police chief says departments need to do more to educate the public.
To show actually what the police will do, what they will say, what can make you feel comfortable when you're being pulled over by the police.
As for McBride, she has taken to social media to try and warn others. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Authorities in Boulder, Colorado say the 21-year-old charged in Monday's supermarket shootings bought his gun legally just days before the attack. His motive, though, remains unknown.
The victims' families and the community are desperate to know the motive. We want to know the motive, and that's going to be the focus of all our efforts going forward. Whether or not we're able to determine it remains to be seen.
10 people, including a police officer, were killed, and the gunman faces a charge of first-degree murder against each one, plus a charge of attempted murder. Prosecutors say more charges will be filed. China is banning 9 UK citizens from entering its country. The penalty is in response to recent criticism of China's treatment of Uyghur Muslims. As Renee Filipponi explains, that's not the end of its retaliation.
Behind the barbed wire fence, some of the more than 1 million Uyghur people are detained by the Chinese government. Stories of torture, forced labor, even forced sterilization have galvanized the international community. Today, China hit back.
Industrial-scale assaults on human rights against the Uyghurs.
MP Tim Loughton, a fierce China critic, is one of 9 UK citizens sanctioned by the Chinese government in retaliation to sanctions leveled at Chinese officials earlier this week.
This is a really counterproductive move. I mean, the backlash to this, the numbers of supportive emails that we've all had from around the world has just drawn more attention to the human rights abuses going on in China.
China denies allegations of human rights abuses and played these videos for the press, showing what it says life is like for the Uyghur people in Xinjiang.
Certain forces have fabricated a large amount of lies of the century about Xinjiang and used these lies to demonize China and interfere in China's internal affairs.
It reveals more.
Human rights lawyer and former Canadian Minister of Justice Irwin Cotler says it's on China to prove human rights abuses aren't happening.
They have refused, for example, to allow an independent, international, impartial, investigative mechanism on unfettered access to Xinjiang.
Retailers are also paying the price. Nike and H&M both raised concerns about forced labor being used in cotton production. It's led to calls for a boycott. This man supports the boycott and says people need to stand with their motherland. It's that sentiment the Chinese government is relying on. State TV released this video of the president today inspecting the troops in a show of power amid growing global tension. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
The U.S. Navy is sending a team of dredging experts to the Suez Canal, where a large ship jammed in the waterway continues to strangle global supply lines.
We have equipment and capacity that most countries don't have, and we're seeing what we can be, what help we can be.
The U.S. offered assistance because backed-up oil shipments are starting to shake energy markets. Today, Egypt's Canal Authority accepted. Since the ship got stuck on Tuesday, it's now delayed 200 other vessels. Every hour, according to Lloyd's of London, another $400 million in trade is affected. Satellite images show the problem clearly.
It's like putting a pencil in a small cup and then it gets jammed at the bottom. No matter what you do to get it out, it's hard to do.
The U.S. expert could arrive on the weekend, but then the hard part begins. Ontario eases some more restrictions despite rising cases and variant spread. But for how long?
We're going to be in for a rough 2 months.
Another lockdown may be looming, but experts say all of this could have been prevented. Plus, the Atlanta shootings have left many Asian Canadians reeling.
Do I belong here? Am I part of this community?
Our in-depth conversation about racism and the model minority label. But first, move over Delicio. Restaurants are taking a slice of the frozen pizza pie.
I knew it would probably go up a bit, but nothing like that.
The pandemic pizza transformation. We're back in 2. First, it was toilet paper, now bicycles and running shoes. The pandemic list of must-haves is a real mix, and it includes frozen pizza. That hasn't gone unnoticed by traditional pizzerias, and some have figured out a way to get a slice of the action. Jacqueline Hansen explains.
For 20 years, Archie's in Starbuck, Manitoba has made frozen pizzas and sold them in grocery stores. Every year, sales grow, but never like last spring. Sales jumped 300%.
I knew it would probably go up a bit, but nothing like that.
Pizza quickly became a pandemic comfort food when Canadians were told to stay home.
We learned a lot about how to do more production real quick.
We have been fortunate.
Toronto pizza restaurant owner Ali Khan Lalani went to stock up on groceries for his family and came back with an idea.
We have the dough, we have the sauce, we have the cheese, and I knew we had the talent.
The dining area at General Assembly Pizza was transformed into assembly lines to make and package its first ever frozen pizzas.
If it wasn't for that shift, I don't think we'd be here today.
Data shows sales of frozen pizza from grocery stores increased 20% over the past year compared to a year earlier, and online sales of them grew even more, up 130%. That is where Lalani sees an even greater opportunity. General Assembly has launched an online frozen pizza subscription service in southwestern Ontario, up to 10 pizzas delivered every month. The company raised $13 million from investors to open a new production facility and expand the service nationwide.
General Assembly was a restaurant business, and now it has transformed into a food technology business.
Pre-pandemic sales were 100% hot, freshly made pizzas. Post-pandemic, Lalani expects it to be 90% frozen, direct to consumers.
We have our sights on being an international pizza brand.
Back at Archie's in Manitoba, peak pandemic in-store sales have cooled, but the buzz about its pizza hasn't, and that could open new doors in more frozen food aisles.
We have stores calling us to get them in there.
Eager to get a slice of one food business that may just be pandemic-proof. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Again, hungry. Passover is set to begin tomorrow, but for the second year in a row, the rituals are virtual. But one rabbi is tackling the holidays' Zoom fatigue with a unique mix and match. But first,
be very careful about pulling back measures.
Ontario doctors say a lockdown could be on the horizon, but it didn't have to be this way. Next. Welcome back. Today, Ontario announced it's loosening more COVID-19 restrictions. Welcome news for millions, especially in hard-hit Toronto, but some doctors say the province has already taken the wrong path. And as they told David Common, those celebrating today should expect to get locked down all over again.
So many waited so long for this. Toronto locked down longer than anywhere else in North America. But this won't last. According to a growing number of physicians, more lockdowns, they say, are coming. A yo-yoing of openings and closings they believe could have been avoided.
What were you telling government?
That they needed to be very careful about pulling back measures.
Dr. Gerald Evans has prepared Ontario for infectious diseases for 3 decades. Part of the science table advising the country's most populous province about its winter lockdown.
You would have kept that lockdown?
Absolutely. If we had maintained those for a few weeks longer, I think the number of cases would have dropped so low that the impact of the variants would have been a lot less than what we're seeing now with this third wave.
Dr. Evans' point is that Ontario, now hovering above 2,000 cases a day, should never have loosened restrictions until that count was below 150. He says it would have taken 3 or 4 more weeks in the winter lockdown and made virus resurgence much harder, and another lockdown unnecessary. Striving for near zero before reopening has been the policy in Atlantic Canada, and for the most part, it's worked.
I rely on health and science. That's number one.
But Doug Ford also needs to listen to business, to employers, and they've wanted to reopen to customers.
And we've constantly been trying to balance the two, and the result of that is that we've done neither successfully.
And epidemiologist Ashley Chute says the result is plain to see. Businesses now likely facing another lockdown soon, as new cases, variants especially, surge. Hospitalizations already critical.
Where are we heading?
I think we're going to be in for a rough 2 months.
Yes, vaccines are being doled out at a much faster rate, but the virus is even faster. The variants more contagious, more deadly too, particularly now, says Dr. Evans, to those around their 50s.
Had the government kept things locked down for just 2 or 3 or 4 more weeks, would fewer people be dying this spring?
It's a bit speculative, but yes, I would say so.
Lockdowns have never targeted warehouses. They're deemed essential. In Ontario, multiple large outbreaks have happened in places like this, and if COVID is floating around the community, it's surely to spread in these tight quarters with high demands, says this workers' advocate.
Which leaves them with little to no choice than to push themselves harder and ignore those safety protocols that might be in place for them to follow.
None of it is easy, of course, but this is a marathon. And while the finish line may be in sight, the final mile may be the toughest. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
Anti-Asian racism has been on the rise, and the stories are now all too familiar for those in the community.
I was harassed while reading in a park and threatened to be reported to the police.
An insightful conversation about race in Canada and the impact racism is having on the community. Stay with us. The Atlanta shooting last week shook many in the Asian community, including here in Canada.
The Atlanta shooting has instilled a fear in me.
The fear for my safety outside of my home.
I really didn't go out for 5 days.
We feel pain and anger.
6 Asian lives were lost for us to recognize racism against Asians.
We sent out an invitation on social media to hear from Asian Canadians and their experiences with racism during the pandemic. The response was overwhelming.
My experience with racism, it's always been subtle and always been small, but enough to really make me wonder, do I belong here?
Those really casual ways in which people ignore you or walk in big circles around you at the grocery store as far as possible.
A woman approached me and started berating me, asking me if I speak English, told me that I should go back home to China.
A friend of mine was answering a question in Zoom class. The other student shouted out to him, "Shut up, coronavirus."
So just to let you know that we are not virus, we are human, just like all of us.
Well, to talk some more about this, we're joined by Anita Lee from Toronto. She's a media consultant and journalism instructor at Ryerson University in Toronto and the City University of New York. And Nathan Ip is a school board trustee and member of Edmonton's Chinatown Community Economic Development Task Force. Welcome to both of you. And Nathan, maybe I'll talk to you first and ask this question of Anita in just a moment. Growing up in Edmonton, what was that like for you?
You know, in some ways, it was the quintessential Canadian upbringing. But I was always acutely aware that I was different, and I was acutely aware of my Asian heritage. And for a lot of racialized folks, you know, we're used to navigating two identities and negotiating between them at any one time. You know, at home, I was Chinese, my parents were Chinese, we ate Chinese food. But out the door, I wanted to be this Canadian kid, this westernized kid. I wanted to fit in like anybody else. And it was, I would say, growing up was a lonely process, because even though in Edmonton there were other Asian kids, we didn't talk about race. Like a lot of other kids, we just try to blend in and fit in. And, you know, in that clip that you showed a little earlier, where one viewer talks about how it was just enough, the racism was just enough to make you feel, to question whether you really belonged. And that really summarized my upbringing and my experience in Edmonton.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will recognize those feelings. Anita, what about you growing up in Toronto?
So I grew up in a suburb of Toronto that is has a lot of people of color in it. My high school is probably 60% Asian Canadian, but there is a misconception that just because Toronto is a very obviously multicultural city, that you don't experience harassment for your skin color. So I definitely, when I was a kid, I do remember being accosted, or my mother and I being accosted in a grocery store, and she's speaking Cantonese to me, which is her native language, and somebody told us to speak English. So these things are, you know, casual acts of racism and discrimination that were just part of, to some degree, my upbringing, though I count myself as one of the fortunate people because of the fact that I grew up in an environment where I saw myself reflected.
And Anita, we've heard, you know, stories, really disturbing stories, and got a taste of that in some of the clips we just heard, particularly in the last few months during the pandemic. What has this time period been like for you?
So in the last few months, I myself have not experienced anti-Asian racism, but of course, you hear stories, you read stories in the news. You know, I've known of friends who've experienced direct forms and explicit forms of racism. And so I myself have felt a rising tide of anti-Asian sentiment, probably dating back to before the coronavirus, because even on the West Coast, discussions of housing affordability and foreign ownership of property has kind of inflamed anti-Asian sentiment, and the rise of, you know, China as a hegemonic power has also inflamed that. And so that's only been compounded by the rise of, you know, stereotypes against the Asian and Canadian community due to the pandemic.
And Nathan, what about for you over the last few months?
You know, personally, I have not experienced any acute forms of racism, but I'm very involved in the Chinese community, and I have to say that the community here is on edge, particularly amongst the senior community. When I talk to seniors, they're afraid for their safety when they go out. Oftentimes, they avoid going out. Some of them have reported being spat at or called names, or just general aggression, and I think that really is reflective of kind of the rising anti-Asian sentiment that we're seeing across the country.
And at the same time, and I know this is a stereotype, but there is this stereotype of Asian Canadians being quiet and well-mannered and, you know, not wanting to complain. In fact, one of the people who responded to our social media call-out talked about this. Let's listen to her.
Asian Canadians today in 2021 need to realize that their parents, grandparents, forebears felt and believed that they had to swallow silently the pain of racial prejudice to put down roots in this country for their families.
Nathan, does that sound familiar to you?
You know, that really hit a nerve because I have heard countless stories like that. I remember talking to Mr. G at one of the Chinatown banquets during Chinese New Year, and he was telling me how, as a teenager, he came to Edmonton in the 1950s to work in a restaurant, and he would be subjected almost on a daily basis to racial slurs and casual forms of racism. And for him, he just accepted it as kind of how things had to be in order to integrate into Canada and a better life for his family. And so it makes me really sad to hear that, because it very much is true. And I've heard stories like that from my father as well, that in order to be accepted, you almost have to let it roll off your back and ignore it.
But it's changing now, right? People are speaking out, and certainly that's part of why we're talking to both of you this evening. Anita, you work in the United States as well as Canada. We've seen a lot of coverage of the anti-Asian racism in the United States. In what ways is that different here, do you think?
I think the ways in which it's different is the framework by which we talk about race in this country versus the US. So this is a broader issue. And so in the United States, there's just a comfort with talking about race in a public way. And this is only something that we've come to be comfortable with as Canadians in the last 2 years or so, dating back to really around the time that our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was wearing brownface and blackface. So there is just much more public discourse and an ease with which they talk about race in the United States. The other distinction is the fact that the model minority stereotype of Asians being very, passive and polite and socioeconomically more advantaged than other racialized groups is very much rooted in the history of the United States. And it's actually been something that has been, it's been imported to Canada without a critical lens, because it actually doesn't really speak or connect to the history of race in our country in particular.
Well, it's really good, as I said, that we're talking about this, and we appreciate you, both of you, willing to discuss an issue that I'm sure you'd rather not discuss, or at least certain parts of that. So Anita and Nathan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another socially distanced Seder, but a rabbi came up with a solution.
I'm really delighted that you are participating in our Seder Shidduch program.
A Passover matchmaker, a Toronto rabbi makes holiday connections. Plus.
Oh my God, what am I seeing?
So this had people in BC calling the fire department. Stay with us. Check out this TikTok. A Toronto rabbi expressing just how she and probably many others feel about celebrating another holiday virtually. TikTok, just one of the many strategies that she's used to reach her congregation during the pandemic. Now, as Canada's Jewish community prepares to celebrate Passover, Rabbi Goldstein is still taking the time to match people virtually to make sure they don't spend the holiday alone. Here's one of those stories.
People always want to know what Passover is, and it is our springtime holiday of liberation from slavery. When we do a Seder, what we're doing is we're doing a special ritual meal. The ritual meal can take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 15 minutes, depends on which family is doing it. I'm Rabbi Elise Goldstein, City Shul, Toronto. When we realized that we will have to celebrate Passover pandemic part 2, I think we all felt a tremendous disappointment, a tremendous sadness. Last year, the truth is we didn't know what we were doing. We were just in shock. We were told no family gatherings.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something.
The 4 questions was, how do I unmute? How do I get my camera on, right? We decided many years ago, by the way, even when we were doing in-person seders, that we would not do a communal seder. We thought it was more important to match people up, family to family, household to household, person to person. It's like a little matchmaking scheme that I do.
Hey, Rabbi. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you. Well, nice to see you. Anne, I'm really delighted that you are participating in our Seder Shidduch program. It's something, you know, that I do every year. I always feel it's important for no one to be alone on Passover.
My name is Anne Milchberg. Past year has been really challenging for me. I'm sure for everyone. For me, and the issue has been I've been on my own, and my social interactions have been mostly been limited to email, phone calls, Zoom calls. Passover, more than any other holiday, is kind of central to my practice in being a Jew. During the Second World War, my father was in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. One of the few people who survived that long, and was in a bunker on the start of Passover. Well, they did it in a bunker, so it's no big deal to do it over a Zoom.
I know Anne, who I've matched up with Jonathan and Meredith and their family for the first night Seder. I knew they would get along.
My name is Jonathan Wyman. It's always an easy decision to welcome people into our home. Easier this year because there's no limit on how many chairs we can squeeze into the dining room.
I'm very grateful and very thankful that Jonathan and Meredith gone out of their way to make me feel welcome. And so I've decided to buy gifts for each of them and to kind of show up at their houses. Hi! I'm stepping back for safety reasons. How are you?
Hello, and thank you so much.
I think that my dad would be looking favorably on it from heaven. I think this whole thing with Zoom and whatever, he would have been sort of mystified and delighted by it.
Every rabbi I know, including myself, has reinvented ourselves. We've become technologically very savvy. I'm on TikTok. We use the drive-in for Rosh Hashanah to blow the shofar so people could be socially together but in their cars.
Well, I can tell you one thing, they never taught us in seminary how to do services in a drive-in.
I think we've all actually learned how to be a little more compassionate and a little bit more patient.
Passover is always looking ahead to next year. At the end of the Seder, we say next year in Jerusalem. Not necessarily literally, but next year, we're going to be having a very different Seder, one way or the other.
Okay, here, bye. I want to be healthy next year. I want to be among friends and family, able to hug people and to share many wonderful meals together, Passover and not.
Hopefully next year we'll be together.
Next year in person, as we said last year.
Yeah.
Next on The National, fire in the sky.
Too slow to be a meteor. A shooting star, a meteor goes like choom.
The mystery behind this impressive show is revealed next in our moment.
Oh my God, what am I seeing?
Well, here's something a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest and parts of British Columbia were wondering about last night. Some people thinking the spectacular light show was a meteor. Turns out it was something completely different, and tonight the story behind last night's fire in the sky is our moment.
All over the Pacific Northwest, people saw these bright lights in the sky, flaming chunks traveling in parallel tracks.
Oh my God, what am I seeing?
Immediately seeing those videos, I went space debris. Too slow to be a meteor. A shooting star, a meteor goes like choom. It was a 3-ton chunk of metal that's entering the atmosphere at 17,000 miles an hour. So we quickly figured out that it was the rocket stage from the Falcon 9 from the SpaceX launch. We believe from the Air Force tracking, it actually started re-entering just northeast of Hawaii over the Pacific. And then 5 minutes later, it crossed the Oregon coast. Something like this puts on a really impressive fireworks show. Scary if you don't know what it is.
Holy smokes. I've never seen anything like that.
Anything like that either.
So I'm hoping now that the people in British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest, next time they see one of these, they will just go, oh, I know what that is. That's space junk burning up. And they won't think it's aliens.
But some people thought it was aliens. I'm bummed that I didn't look up and see it last night, by the way. The fire department in Saanich on Vancouver Island got calls from people. I guess when you look up at that in the sky and you're a little bit afraid who you're going to call. So the Saanich Fire Department tweeted out that their expertise really is fires on the ground, not the sky, but they would investigate. That is the National for March 26th. I hope you can join me on Sunday for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio 1. That starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, and then later that evening back here on the National. Good night.